Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday. I almost said Friday, but today, Wednesday, November 23rd, 2016.
Commissioner Rivas, Repenning, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Patricia Chang, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, I'm Michael Ruiz, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Angelica Samayoa with the Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under general public comment, no commentary under the neighbor to council comment section, and no speaker cards on any of the items for today's agenda.
Okay, then we'll close general public comment as well as the neighborhood council category of commentary. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, November 2nd, 2016. Is there a second to my motion that we approve those meeting minutes? By Commissioner Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, we will approve those meeting minutes. Agenda item number 2 from our executive office, approval of the calendar year 2017 holiday and recess schedule. Recommending that the board establish and approve the proposed calendar year 2017 Board of Public Works holiday and recess schedule. Mr. Campos, number 2.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Mr. President and fellow commissioners, the item before you is to establish and approve the proposed calendar for 2017 for the Board of Public Works holiday and recess schedule. As allowed under the board rule number 1 of the Board of Public Works, this board may set a calendar schedule and recess period as you wish. Currently, there are 10 legal holidays that we are legally required to observe, and then there's also 4 non-legal holidays that are being proposed before you. One of them is Yom Kippur, second is Rosh Hashanah. We also are proposing a recess for Good Friday, and then also 1 day for the Ramadan holiday period. In addition to that, there's 7 additional recess days that we would like to request so that we can have 2 recess schedules, one in the summer, which is between July 3rd all the way through July 7th. In addition to that, the normal Board of Public Works winter recess, which would be starting from Wednesday, December 20th through Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. Therefore, the item before you is just to establish the recess period and the holiday period for calendar year 2017.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 2. Is there a second? By Commissioners Repenning, Rivas, and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you. Agenda item number 1. From the Bureau of Sanitation, a task order solicitation, number A3-16-05, notice of award to Inflection Point Solutions, recommending that the board authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to issue a notice of award to Inflection Point Solutions from the Bureau of Sanitation on-call consultant list to provide Oracle customer care and billing support in response to task order solicitation number A3-16-05. The cost ceiling of the project task order is not to exceed $349,960. Anita Fernandez. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner James, President James, and Commissioners, Mr. City Attorney, Mr. Executive Officer, and Bureau Managers. My name is Anita Fernandez. I'm with LA Sanitation, Information and Control Systems Division, and I'd like to just give you a brief background on this project. LA Sanitation sewer service charge and various other fees associated with the solid waste collection program are billed through LADWP's customer care and billing system. LA Sanitation has been working closely with LADWP, and we enlisted the assistance of a consultant to work directly with us and DWP's mitigation team to address sanitation-specific issues and implement solutions to those issues. The previous on-call contract, which we were working with under this contractor, expired, so we issued a new task order solicitation on July 29th, and it was under our automation on-call contract, and we solicited to all 6 consulting firms. Under our pre-qualified list for related services, we received 2 proposals. The remaining 4 firms declined to submit proposals and did not respond to our inquiry to provide a reason why. A rating panel of 3 sanitation staff reviewed and rated the proposals using the criteria described in the task order solicitation, and determined that Inflection Point Solutions demonstrated the technical expertise, qualifications, and best approach to the work needed to complete the scope of work under this TOS. The focus of this task order is to resolve the remaining billing issues and continue with knowledge transfer to sanitation, financial, and technical staff. The proposed task order is total of $349,960, of which 80.5% is WBSBE.
Questions regarding agenda item number 1? Anything to add? Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Anita, thank you for the report. In terms of the percentage of the work done by the prime and the consultant, it's 80-20 basically. Is that customary?
Yes. This is very highly specialized skills needed here, so this consultant is they have the most experience in doing this type of billing.
I mean, it's good that the consultant is a Weeby, NSB, so that's wonderful, 80%. I just didn't realize that the prime reaches out and gets that specific capacity on their team. Great, thank you.
I always like to avoid asking the one question too many in my prior career. I don't think that's the case in this job necessarily, but I do see that Ms. Mowry's in the room as well. I have no issue with it. I just thought, since we're here, we're going to approve this today, I anticipate. I have certainly no problem with it. I appreciate the report, Ms. Fernandez. But anytime that I see that we're dealing with customer care and billing regarding sanitation's sewer service charge, it's an opportunity for an update on how things are going. Only because in other departments at times we have had challenges, and so I like to hear if we're not having problems, or if we are, maybe get ahead of them. And so I thought I would ask the question.
Absolutely. Lisa Mowry, Chief Financial Officer, Sanitation. Good progress to report. As many of you are aware, we've received preliminary approval of the settlement for the long-standing litigation that Department of Water and Power has been involved with for the implementation of the customer care and billing, which has had impact on our fees as well, although the majority of the overbilling issues were related to the water and power fees. There were some connections to some of our fees. One of the challenges that we've been facing for our fees is that for the past few years, all of the focus has been on the litigation issues. So there are still several improvements we would like to see that would make things easier for our billing system, our folks, for instance, being able to see everything on one screen rather than having to go through multiple screens. Those types of things that have been on hold while all of the focus has been on the litigation, which I totally understand. We all wanted to see that resolved. So now we're very hopeful that the attention of our consultant, which has been incredibly valuable to us as we've gone through the litigation and as things have been proposed for the settlement, to watch out, make sure that an improvement in another area that would benefit the customers wouldn't accidentally have an impact on our customers that would be negative. So that's been one of the areas we've really been focused on. Hopefully now we can go ahead, see the implementation of the settlement through, and also start getting in some of those additional functionalities that we would love to see with the system that nobody's been able to focus on. So we very much hope that we will see those sorts of improvements. On the collection side of things, things have been getting much better. We are seeing our collection percentages get much closer to the historical levels of around 98% that we saw in the past. So that's going to be something that's going to be very, very good. As we go through and the settlement gets implemented, at that point we will be working with our accountants, our auditors, as well as the Department of Water and Power to look at past account receivable amounts and the appropriate time for us to start writing some of those off. We've been carrying a lot of things because we've had to see how the settlement agreement was going to work out.
Right.
So we think in this upcoming fiscal year, we're going to see a lot more clarity on that and be able to figure out which of those past amounts it's time to write off, which ones we think we still have an opportunity to collect, and certainly see things normalize moving forward with the future collections.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Mary. I really
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Especially since you had no clue I was going to ask that question to either one of you, so I really appreciate it.
Something told me you might have a question.
No, thank you very much. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item, I'll make a motion with Commissioner Repenning that we adopt agenda item number 1. Is there a second? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 1. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 1 forthwith. Oh, first of all, did I ask if there were any objection? No objection. Then we can send it forthwith. We'll send it forthwith. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Thank you, everyone. And Ms. Mallory, Ms. Fernandez, thank you very much. Agenda item number 3, Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Sanitation, Council District 14. Construction order to Clark Contracting Corporation recommending that the board authorize a construction budget of $8,505,000 for the emergency sewer repairs north outfall sewer between Jesse Street and Mission Road Phase 1 project, and secondly, authorize the city engineer to issue a construction order to Clark for the project. Pat Chang, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Patricia Chang with Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. This board report is to request approval of construction budget of $8,505,000 and the authority to issue construction orders to Clark for the North Outfall Sewer, Jesse Street, and Mission Road Phase 1 project. The city engineer authority is limited to $500,000 for the emergency sewer repair projects. This is the Phase 1 project is the follow-up project of the initial NOS emergency repair. The NOS collapsed on July 18th at Mission Road under the existing 6th Street. Major sewer spill occurred, and the on-call contractor, emergency sewer repair on-call contractor, Tomovich, was directed to do the stabilization work. While they're working on that, the expedited design was completed in late September. And because during the initial response, we could not determine, other than the 250 feet of a pipe was damaged, required to be replaced, the remaining 500 feet condition was unknown because the access to the sewer was blocked by a tremendous amount of debris. So we broke the repair project into 2 phases. The phase 1 is to remove and replace 250 feet of the damaged sewer and to build 3 deep access shafts so we can clean the remaining 500 feet and do a condition assessment of the sewer that will determine how we're going to proceed with phase 2. The staff have prepared several alternative design for phase 2, so it's ready to go when the phase 1 condition assessment is determined. And because during the initial response, the North Outfall Sewer is totally isolated, and all the flow is now on pumping arrangement, it is urgent to repair the NOS as soon as possible so we can reduce the risk of a pump failure, which may lead to another major sewer spill. Following the emergency sewer repair contract procedure, we have asked Tomovich, the on-site on-call contractor, and the 2 top two other on-call contractors at the top of the rotating list to provide cost proposals in late September, and the 3 cost proposals were received on October 4th. Valverde was initially the lowest bid, have lowest cost. However, on October 5th, they have submitted a letter requesting to withdraw their cost proposal, citing a mistake they made in their price that made the overall cost a large difference that they cannot accommodate. So therefore, the Clock Contracting Corporation has the lowest cost proposal, plus the 7 allowance items that for the scope of work that we knew is going to be required. However, it's very difficult to define. Then the bidders really don't know how to. It's not fair for them to bid something that the scope is unclear. So those were the allowance items, and then some contingencies. The total construction budget is $8,505,000, and due to the urgent nature of this project, a advanced approval was obtained from Commissioner Jacinto in early October. We're today here is to request the board to approve the $8,505,000 budget and the authority to issue construction orders to Clock. As the construction order was already issued on October 20th, the Clock was given 12 weeks to complete the entire scope. As of yesterday, 250 feet of new pipe was already installed and backfilled. By the next week, we are hoping that the street will be serviceable, and pending on some of the DWP utility restoration work, and that will open up part of the traffic on Mission Road right now is totally blocked, and this will improve the truck traffic in the area. And then the Clock will be focusing on establishing the 3 access shaft so we can start cleaning the sewer and assess the condition for the following phase of work.
Thank you, Ms. Chang. Appreciate it. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Pat, thank you for this report and, just the management of this project since July when it all went down, literally, and opened up. This is a big project, right? Because it's the North Outfall Sewer, and together with sanitation, the response that we had in July was quick and swift. The bypass system was at sort of pre-phase 1, or stabilize it. Now this phase 1 construction and repair is significant. And just had a question. We haven't started the video of phase 2, correct? That's gonna
correct, and then we cannot video the sewer until we establish the shafts and then clean all the debris out, and then we can do assessment.
So this whole thing can continue to
Right.
be a significant cost of repair, but it's necessary because it's right next to the 6th Street Bridge, and the fact that the bridge is being constructed right now, it's probably a good time to do that since.
Yes, and then it's important that we restore the street because we're also closely coordinating with the 6th Street Bridge building team, and both contractors are working very closely. And so far, we don't see major interference with the street, the bridge, and new foundation work.
That's good to hear that it's being coordinated. All
Yes.
right. Thank you, Pat, for the report.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. While you have the floor, any shout-outs today?
Nice. Thank you, President James. We do have a shout-out, Pat. I just, behind you over there, that gentleman is my older brother, my only older brother. Jaime Jacinto is visiting from the island of Hawaii, Hilo. So shout-out to Ashaka to you, sir. Thank you for bringing this commissioner's hero as you were growing up, as we listened to Leonard Cohen late at night and different things. So shout out to Jaime Jacinto. Thank you, sir.
Well, and I, of course, was, I guess, not surprised to learn what an Oklahoma football fan that he is. So welcome, sir. Good to see you. Anything further on agenda item number 3? I don't have anything else. Commissioner Jacinto, is that a motion? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 3. Any issues sending it forthwith?
Thank you.
We'll send number 3 forthwith. Thank you, Ms. Chang. Happy Thanksgiving. Agenda item number 4 from the Bureau of Street Services, Council Districts 2, 4, 6, and 7. Tree trimming for street lighting illumination in the parkways of Laurel Canyon Boulevard from Ventura Boulevard to Mulholland Drive and certain other streets. Recommending that the board declare Mariposa Landscapes Incorporated, the apparent first low bidder, to be non-responsive as discussed in the report. Second, declare Thrifty Tree Service, the first low bidder after the local business preference is applied, to be the lowest responsible bidder, and award them the contract for the project for the trimming of 1,887 trees in the parkways of the streets listed above in the amount of $311,355. Third, authorize myself or 2 board members to execute the contract for the project after approval as to form by the city attorney has been obtained. And 4, instruct the executive officer of the board to immediately advise Thrifty to submit their bonds and insurance documents within 5 working days after the date of the notification of award of the contract by the Board of Public Works. And number 5, instruct the executive officer of the board to immediately advise Thrifty to work on that the work on the project must start within 5 working days from the date of the issuance of the notice to proceed. Mario Antariano, and I would just mention that since we're declaring Mariposa the first low bidder to be non-responsive as discussed in the report, the application of the local business preference is irrelevant anyway, number 1. And number 2, even if we applied the LBP to it, they wouldn't quite get there because it's about 9.1% or something like that, or 8.9% instead of the 8%. But nevertheless, they're still the selectee because of the business inclusion process. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, good morning. Mario Antariano with the Bureau of Street Services, Financial Management Division, Contract Section. This project is for the trimming of approximately 1,887 trees in the parkways of the subject streets for a total bid amount of the $311,355. The estimate on this project was $245,310. And for this project, the Bureau of Contract Administration staff verified that the apparent first low bidder, Mariposa, as you stated, failed to pass the BIP outreach evaluation, and also for purposes of local business preference program is not a certified local business enterprise. Based on their findings, after the local business preference program percentage is applied, Thrifty Tree Services, being a certified local business enterprise, becomes the first low bidder. The project was advertised with anticipated participation levels of 18% MBE, 4% WBE, SBE, EBE, and DBBE. The Office of Contract Compliance reported that Thrifty complied with the BIP outreach requirements and pledged the following participation levels: MBE at 4.03% and 0% for WBE, SBE, EBE, DVBE, and OBE. However, Thrifty has also complied with the MSM requirement by pledging a subcontractor participation level of 4.03%. Based on these, or based on the aforementioned, the Bureau of Street Services recommends that the Board of declare Mariposa Landscapes Incorporated to be non-responsive and declare Thrifty Tree Service, Inc. the first low bidder after the application of the local business preference program to be the lowest responsive responsible bidder and award them the contract.
Okay. Thank you, Mario. I don't have any question that affects the outcome of what we're going to do, of what I expect that we're going to do based on the recommendation of the board report. Just a curiosity that maybe I'll work on afterwards. When I look at page 2 of the board report, And this is what, when we apply the 8%, if you look at Mariposa's bid, and this is for Mr. Campos as well, and Ted may have something, he looks like Ted probably has the answer to where I think I'm going. So I'm probably missing something, but I'll learn. If you look at the bid for Mariposa, it's $288,711, and it's 17.69% high. Then you go to Thrifty, which is the second one. They're $311,355. They're 26.92% high. If I subtract the 8% from the 26.92% high, then I get 18.92% high, which is still higher than the 17.69% high, which would make me think that the LBP would be irrelevant. But if you go down and do the math of the LBP adjusted bid amounts, Thrifty actually comes out a couple of $1,000s less. So I'm just wondering if I'm missing something mathematically with that, or if we don't really know the answer. It doesn't affect what we're doing here today, but it is just a curiosity of mine. And the substantive question that I do have is the Bureau's okay with, as the Bureau made the decision that, look, we're 26% high here. Granted, even if we apply the LBP, they're 18% high, which is over the 15% high threshold. If we go out and rebid this thing, this may have been rebid already anyway, I think.
This project was not rebid.
Oh, it was not a rebid. No. Okay. Is the feeling that we're going to get the same numbers essentially anyway, because we're a little high on the bid amounts here?
The feeling would be that the bids may actually come in higher, just because the cost of the unit cost of tree trimming has increased.
Well, it goes back to my argument to the budget folks next year for more city forces to do this kind of work. Mr. Jordan, anything mathematically, Mr.?
I can try to take a stab at answering, although
Yeah.
I think Fernando probably could as well. The local business preference ordinance says you reduce the local firm's bid amount by 8%.
Yeah.
The percentages shown on the table on page 2 reflect percentage differences from the city's estimate. So it's thrown
So
off
that may
because
be the
those
delta?
those are percentages based on what the city's estimate was, where the ordinance says you reduce the contractor's bid amount by 8%.
Okay.
And I think it's just the wonders of math.
Okay. Anything, Mr. Campos?
Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Jordan, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. That table that you are referring to is based on the city's estimate comparison to the original amount. However, when you do calculate that 8%, that number does drop down to 16.76% from the city's estimate. So therefore, that would put them at the lowest amount.
So they would be low, even
Correct.
with the LBP.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Today it doesn't matter because they didn't apply the BIP, but next time when we're this close, it might be worth doing that math more closely, and maybe I'll do it in the next board, because I don't want there to be confusion if you just try and do the quick math with the 8%.
Very well. Would it help if we clarify that the percentages on the top table are from the estimate as opposed to?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, just I feel compelled to then point out, however, keep in mind when we do apply the local business preference, so looking at the numbers you have before you, if we needed to actually award the contract based solely on that rather than the non-responsiveness of Mariposa, the actual amount the city will be paying is the amount that they bid.
It's the higher amount. I got it.
And
Yeah.
so it might cause some confusion if we start reflecting what the percentage difference is from the city's estimate.
It's
because
a
in the end-
benefit to the local business, not a penalty to the local business. Yeah.
Exactly. So we don't get a forced discount.
Right.
We pay the higher amount.
Yeah, we have to pay the higher amount. Got it. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Penning.
I would point out here one of the ironies of our BIP program, which is that Mariposa itself as a prime is actually a minority-owned business. So why we often focus on subcontracting numbers in this case, and unfortunately they failed to do their outreach, but we're actually getting a much better result than even if they had met the subcontracting goals in terms of them being a prime. So this is, one of the One of the ironies of our program in which we're so focused on the outreach that sometimes we miss the bigger picture.
Right. I do think that, I agree with you, Commissioner Penning. My recollection is that Mariposa was listed as a sub on the original contract. So they're getting...
They're getting the 4.03%.
That's them. Even though they failed their BIP, they're getting some of the work as a minority-owned business. Yeah. We see that in this area of contracting more than others because of the small nature of the field.
Correct, a very
in the
small
region.
Community of contractors
Yeah.
that do this type of specific type of work. Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of observations with this one. Thank you. Anything further? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 4, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 4. Any issue sending number 4 forthwith? We will send number 4 forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Campos, have a good Thanksgiving, Mario. Thanks. Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Thank you. We are